I think that word is what is happening now exactly as we speak. Well, a word of gratitude for to the family and to God for giving the world Nelson Mandela, to giving South Africa and that great individual. But the president, as we speak, in Cape Town, Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu is holding a service of thanks in honor of this great man to celebrate the life of Nelson Mandela. He said that Mr. Mandela, in his words, quote, taught a divided nation to come together. And Maupe, one other significant thing, unprecedented thing he did was voluntarily relinquishing his opportunity and his chance, which is also legitimate for him to go for another term in office. And he said, I think I'm done with this. And I also remember the smile on his face when he went to cast his ballot for the very first time when democracy returned to South Africa. The smile, he had to raise the ballot, he looked everywhere, left, right, and everywhere, and he dropped it in the box with an applause. It shows that, look, this is the dream I've always seen of a great South Africa, and here I am walking into that dream and vision. Do you know what it takes? 27 years being out of, I don't understand.
I don't think that South Africans will ever take that for granted. And every time they attempted to, you know, I guess something will definitely wake them up to say, we cannot take the fact that we go to the ballots black and white, red and yellow. We cannot take that fact for granted. I mean, that freedom for granted. It looks like a simple symbol. I mean, you just thumbprint something and put it there, but that right was not always there. And for people who participated in the struggle, they know what sacrifices they made. You just heard the president of South Africa thank the family, you know, say, we thank you, it's with gratitude. Yeah. Express our gratitude to you for it, because as far as I know, what sacrifice? Because you ask someone, what are you willing to sacrifice yourself for your country? No, my father still needs me, my mother needs me, my children need me, and all of that did not matter. At the end of the day, look at where we are. Look where a whole country is. Look where an entire world is. I think that, you know, South Africans are indeed blessed to have had such a man come from within their shores. And you can see these are live feeds of South Africans out there holding a picture of him, celebrating him. I'm sure that as the day goes by, we will definitely see many more people come out to celebrate. We might even see people mourning. Now we see that his friend, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, I can only imagine the pain he feels in his heart. But what he has deemed it fit to do is do a Thanksgiving service to God, you know, in honor of this man, and also in gratitude to God for the life of such a wonderful being.
Well, I think time for us to go to South Africa and speak with our correspondent, Dibia. She will be telling us what exactly the mood is like, even though we can see some feeds here. This is just Cape Town. Betty, good morning. Quite a historic day, and even a sad one for the continent and the world. The passing of Nelson Mandela. Tell us what exactly is happening in South Africa, where you are at the moment.
I think basically the people here are still trying to digest the news. But from late last night when the president confirmed the happening, a lot of people went over to his house at Houghton, a suburb of Johannesburg where he lives, and they've been singing, laying flowers and just paying tribute to him, and the news agencies as well are buzz as expected, and people talking about their personal experiences with him. This is all happening while awaiting the full funeral arrangements for the statesman. But a lot of people, I guess it's a mixed feeling of sadness and joy. They knew it would happen, and the President Jacob Zuma captured it in the speech he made very late, almost midnight last night, when he said, we knew this day would come, but nothing can reduce the sense of loss and pain that we feel. But, you know, people saying, okay, it's time for him to go. And they've had quite a lot of space and time to prepare for this happening. It's still lost, it's still in the hearts of the people.
You know, Actually, looking at the feeds on television now for the very first time, I got shaken and well, teary-eyed here, even though we knew definitely a day like this would come for Nelson Mandela. What do you think the family and well, even world leaders will be saying of this great man at this moment?
We heard the U.S. President Barack Obama talking about him being a personal hero. A lot of messages from all over the world, indeed, have been pouring. And Obama said he's a personal hero, and he taught the world forgiveness. And he learned a lot of things. His political life got some awakening with Mandela and the story of Mandela. All the world leaders, we just saw David Cameron, the UK Prime Minister, speaking as well, and it's all about what he stood for, and many are saying, may he die, but let what he stood for not die with him. So people to carry on what Mandela has been known for. Forgiveness and vision and leadership to build a country.
Well, anyway, I think, what President Obama has said, I also remembered he said, well, he no longer belongs to us, he belongs to the ages. That is really, really very touching. But, well, I'm sure by now a whole lot will also be expected of some other people. Tell us the mood in South Africa now, because we understand that pretty soon most world leaders will be hitting South Africa, especially to pay tribute to this great man.
Yes, in a few days' time, already flags are flying at half staff, and the sketchy details of the funeral that we have for now is that in about 10 days the funeral will take place, and world leaders, President Obama of the U.S. has already indicated that he'll be here as well. We know that a lot of people will be coming there, but the mood within, people are relating the experiences they have with those who have met him, those who haven't, the way he's touched them, and what they have to do to take the country forward now that he's no longer here, but still in their heart.
Well, Betty, many thanks for talking with us. We'll get back to you pretty much later to give us an update on the happenings in South Africa with regards to the death of Madiba Nelson Mandela. And well, I also remembered how influential he has been in the music world. Back home and all over the world. I also remembered, well, great men like the late Sonny Okoson's, Magic Feshek, you name it, back home and on the continent, and even the United States of America, a particular project called the 46664, and that's the number on the bangle on Nelson Mandela while he was there in Robben Island. I think people actually had always believed that he was going to come out, because even while in jail, they kept on singing the vision and the freedom song for Nelson Mandela and against apartheid in that country.
It's also his imprisonment was one of the things that brought out the finest in South African literature and also in South African music. I remember Brenda Fassie was also one woman who, when she sang. Right now I can only picture or hear her songs in my head about this man, and I think that it got you curious as to who exactly are they singing about. I was still very little when I heard Brenda Fassie sing, and I asked my dad then, I remember, that, who exactly are they singing about? So I know that he's inspired many people. And right now, that South Africa, there have been tensions in that country. One of the things that Betty did say, that President Obama, President Obama or David Cameron, who said that he may have died, but let what he died let what he lived for never die. I'm hoping that South Africans would also take this time as a time to reflect as to how they have actually managed the unity of their country. And at a time when people are beginning to preach messages of hate, xenophobia is also reigning rife in some parts of the country. I'm hoping that they will take this time out to reflect on the messages, on what this man truly stood for, and how they are upholding those tenets, those great values that he stood for. And I think that it would be a message not just to them, but also to many parts of the world.
For a man who spent the better part of his life fighting, when he walked out of prison in 1999, I quote something he said. He said, "As I walk out the door towards my freedom, I leave behind the bitterness, the hate. Because if I don't leave them behind, I will remain in prison even while being free." And the President Jacob Zuma said to him, says, what made him human is what brought us closer to him. You know, he fought a life, he lived a life for justice.
Well, anyway, I think our world leaders have all been paying tribute to this great man that they've taken to even their Twitter. And well, we just share some with you. Pretty much later we'll have them up there for you. Julia Gillard said, well, a great light has gone out in the world. Nelson Mandela was a hero of our time and asked for the flag at number 10 to be flown at half-mast. And of course, David Cameron, well, he went on his Twitter handle to say, "I will never forget my friend Dibia." And for Bill Clinton, today we have lost a light in the world. Mandela was a true leader, a statesman, and defining symbol of reconciliation. And for Ban Ki-moon, no one did more in our time for the values and aspirations of the UN. And I will never forget his selflessness and deep sense of purpose. And on it goes. I'm getting a little bit croaky here in my voice because truly it's a touching moment for a lot of people. But we'll just go on a short break and we will return to speak about this great man, Nelson Mandela.